There they are, guys. All ready to go. Hi guys, welcome back to Sam's Life with a Husky. Sam here, Ghost is actually like right there. Today is a part 2 video. This is actually editing Sam, by the way, because we decided to make this into a 2-part video where the making of the broth was in one and the canning of the broth was in another. So I had to make the intro for the canning part of the series. So today we are canning turkey broth and it's gonna be so much fun. I'm actually all done with it, but you guys will get to see the process and how I do it, and maybe you'll learn about kind of how you do canning, because canning broth is one of the easiest things that you can do. And honestly, it's a starting point. This is how I'm learning to can. I'm learning on broth. Some people learn with jams. Next year I'm going to do some jams, but hopefully this gives you some courage and shows you that it's really not that scary. So let's get into the video. All right, so now that I have checked all of my broth to make sure there isn't an excessive amount of fat on top, I have put it back in this crock pot because I want it to warm up. When you're making or when you're canning chicken stock or turkey stock or broth, it's a hot jarring system. So you want your broth to be warm, so I'm warming it back up. And I have to sterilize all of my jars. Now for my turkey broth, I'm using 32 ounce jars, mainly because there's so much of it. That thing is almost full. That's a 10-quart crock pot and it's almost filled to the brim. So I'm going to use those to conserve room, and I have to sterilize all of that. When you're doing canning, everything needs to be sterile. So I'm gonna do that very fast, and we're gonna get the pressure canner set up and going so that the water is warm when I start putting these jars inside. My jars sterilized. That's about how many I should need. Maybe not that many, but I did extra just in case. I got my pressure canning pot with water in it and the turbot at the bottom warming up. I am following my Presto canner manual. Please, this is a science. It can be dangerous if you don't follow the directions. Please follow the directions, follow your manual. I glance at it every single time I can just to make sure I'm not missing a step. I am now going to make these jars filled. I washed all my things in that soapy water. That water was only used to sterilize these jars in that pot. So that is done. I am going to set aside 6 cups, because about 6.5 cups, because I am making soup with that stock tonight. So I'm not going to can that 6 cups, but we're going to go ahead and get this started. Remember your headspace, follow your manual, and everything should be fine. Guys, so if you include the 2 quarts that I took out for making soup tonight, I came out with 9 quarts of turkey broth. Now, before I filled any of these jars, I also checked my rims just with the base of my finger to make sure none of them were cracked or anything like that. Chips, you don't want any chips on your jars. This is a very sterile process and you want everything to go well. I am now wiping the rims of my jars with distilled white vinegar. It helps cut through the grease, and when your jars are sealing, if there is grease on your lid, it won't seal properly. So you want to make sure you get any residual grease off. So I just go through and I wipe all of them really well. And then what I'll do, which you already saw me do once, is I will take my magnet, which I'm sure you guys can see this. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm just praying and hoping that this is going to be in a shot. I'm taking my magnet and I'm picking up my lids out of a bowl full of warm water, so that way they stayed sterile and hot water after I washed them. And I am just picking them up and placing them on to my jars like so. And then when I'm done here, I will grab the lids and I will put the lids on. Now the lids you only need to put on finger tight. So these were drying over there. They're fine. I'm going to put them right here. This area is completely clean, so I'm not worried. And you're going to put them on your jars fingertip tight. So not ridiculously tight, guys. You're not wrenching it down. Just fingertip tight. And if you read your manual, it'll tell you this as well. So fingertip tight, just like so. I need a couple more. 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to load these into the canner. Now you can see that my pot is warm, which is fine. I have my grippy thing here. This is what I am picking my jars up with. I am picking them up and placing them into the water very carefully. These jars are hot, so this should not shock them at all. You want to make, you don't want them touching. That's a thing. Because while they are pressure canning, they will rock just a little bit, not much, but a little. So we are going to try and put all of these in here. If I have to wiggle them around, I should be able to get all of them in here ever so carefully. You don't want them touching the edges either. I do have one jar left. You are allowed to stack your jars, but unfortunately you can't stack quart jars because there's just not enough room for the lid to go on. So what I will do is I will actually do this. I will do 2 rounds. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the lid on. Again, follow your manual. All the jars look good. Line up. And now we will get the process started. Now, I know you guys did not hear me talk about the headspace inside the jar. That is actually because I know what the headspace is on these jars. It's a 1-inch headspace for stock, which is right at the base of the, I can show you with this one. It's basically right at the base right here. This one's overflow because this is going to be for my soup tonight. So don't go by that, but it's the base of this top head thing. That's the 1-inch headspace. I do double check all of them, but for the most part, if it's at that level, it's got the 1-inch headspace. So that's what that is. I am waiting for steam to start coming out of this thing right here, the spout, and then I have to let it basically breathe for 10 minutes, and then I have to set my timer. For quart jars, it's 25 minutes at 11 pounds of pressure. I do not start that 25-minute timer until it hits 11 pounds of pressure, and then it has to stay at or slightly above 11 pounds of pressure the entire 25 minutes. Otherwise, you have to set your timer up again. So you basically have to watch your pot, almost like a hawk. Not crazy, but almost like a hawk. Again, the timing and the pressure follow the manual that comes with your pressure cooker, and you'll know all the things, and we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna make myself a snack while this happens because I'm hungry, and I'll get back to you guys when we get to the point where we need to tell you more. Okay, I let it vent for 10 minutes and I put the weighted stopper on it. Now I have to let this get up to 11 pounds of pressure, and then I start my 25-minute timer. All right, guys, we have reached 11 pounds of pressure. I am going to start my timer for 25 minutes and go from there. All right, my 25-minute timer went off. So now I just have to wait for this thing right here to fall. And then I can lift this off, let it vent for 10 minutes, and we should be all set to go. Okay, it's vented for 15 minutes after I took the stopper off. It's depressurized here, and that pressure sensor says 0. So we are going to open this up, and I am going to pull my jars out with my grabber. I am not going to record this though because I want to make sure I do it carefully. There they are, guys. All ready to go. I'm going to cover them with this towel because you don't want them to have any drafts. And they're gonna stay on this counter for 12 to 24 hours and naturally cool on their own before I test their seal. Well, it is the next day, and I have not edited the video yet for canning the broth. So I figured I'd jump on here and show you guys the finished product. So when they are finished, I leave them on the counter for 24 hours to cool. I check them at the 12-hour mark. They were still warm. So definitely let them sit on the counter for 24 hours. I have them covered in a towel so that way they don't cool too quickly, because that can actually not be good for your jars. And when they are completely cool, I take warm water and a soapy cloth, and I wipe off the outsides, because while the canning process is going on, before they actually seal, sometimes little bits can leak out around the lid. So I always like to wash my jars. That's something that I learned from a couple YouTubers actually. And so yeah, I take the rings off and I wash them, and then I label them. So you can see here it says turkey broth and then the date. So I labeled it the 25th because that's when they were done. And yeah, so we're all good. They are a beautiful golden color, guys. Delicious. I made soup with this last night and I absolutely loved it. So let me know if you guys make your own broth. And thank you for watching. I'm going to go edit that video now. So that is all I have for you guys today. If you have watched this second part to technically technically a two-part series. They're technically two different things, but we did this, we worked with the same material for all of them. So if you watched the first video where we made the turkey broth, then thank you for watching that video. And if you came over to see this one as well, where we canned the turkey broth that we made, then you are amazing. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked today's video and you found it informative and it gave you a little bit of courage to do some canning of your own when it comes to broth, because honestly, broth is like one of the easiest things that you can can, then I am happy. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye!